So you're thinking about moving to Berlin, or maybe you've recently arrived and are trying to figure out what this quirky, vibrant, and sometimes very chaotic city is really like. Well, you've come to the right place because today we're going to be diving into everything you need to know before you settle into your new Berlin life. First of all, Berlin is super international. There's people from all walks of the world here, and it is one of the most non-judgmental cities that you will ever encounter. For example, where I work, we're very international. This is Max, Polish-German.
Cześć, jestem Max.
And we have Ezzy, who's here all the way from Mexico, but he's not actually here today. So here's just a lovely picture of him. And me, well, I am originally from the Balkans, actually. I'm half Bulgarian and half Serbian, but have lived kind of all over, and now you will find me in Berlin. So finding an English-speaking job here is totally doable. The tech industry, for example, is absolutely massive, and they're always looking for new people with special skills, and English is usually the language of choice. I actually work for a tech YouTube channel, and we've got a little small team here. For example, as I mentioned, Max, he's our videographer editor, but he works fully in English. Ezzy is our scriptwriter, and he writes fully in English. I am the host of the channel, and our channel is fully in English. So there are definitely a lot of opportunities around. You've just got to go and check them out. I recommend platforms like Indeed or Glassdoor, and I will pop into the description below any others that come to mind where you can potentially find an English-speaking job. The previous company I worked at was in e-commerce, and that too operated fully in English, so the opportunities really are endless. However, one thing to consider is that salaries in Berlin tend to be somewhat lower compared to other major cities like Munich or Frankfurt. That said, the lower cost of living here does help balance it out. Now let's talk about apartments. Finding a flat in Berlin can feel like an absolute nightmare. Sometimes it genuinely feels like it should be an Olympic sport. I myself have lived in Berlin for 3 years now, and my boyfriend and I have moved 4 times in total, which apparently actually isn't a lot, believe it or not. But there are multiple platforms that can help you find an apartment, either long-term or short-term. So let's talk about those in a little bit more detail. So where you search for a flat will depend on one main factor. Are you looking to move to Berlin short or long term? There are numerous platforms such as HomeLike, Wonderflat, Spot-a-Home, to name a few, where you can find good short-term options that can be rented out anywhere from 1 month up to 1 year. These are relatively expensive, however, the price you see on the listing is the warm price of the accommodation, meaning there are no extra hidden costs, and the places normally come fully furnished. If you're looking for a long-term option, ImmoScout is probably your best bet. However, if you've heard that securing a listing there is nearly impossible, well, unfortunately, you've heard correctly. It can be incredibly time-consuming, and often landlords or agents prefer to be contacted in German, which can be tricky if you're not fluent like me. But here's the good news. There's actually a platform that can make your search a lot easier. It's called Get the Flat. I've even had the chance to chat with Alex, the founder, and he shared how they've streamlined the rental process to make it way more convenient and less stressful. So Get the Flat is essentially a subscription service that basically guarantees they'll help you find an apartment in Berlin hassle-free. They handle everything for you. You just need to tell them your preferences for things like size, budget, and anything else that's important to you, and they'll take it from there. They'll send personalized messages to landlords, which help you stand out from the crowd thanks to their years of experience in the German rental market and knowing exactly what landlords want to hear. They'll even secure viewings for you at places that exactly match your needs. Plus, they only show you long-term unfurnished flats, and you can cancel anytime, whether you change your mind or once you found your perfect home. They manage up to 300 applications a month, so you can save yourself a lot of time and stress. If you go on their website, you can see testimonials from previous people who have used the service and successfully found a home in only a matter of days, which is pretty impressive. The agent mentioned she was so impressed that my letter was sehr professionell and stood out among other applicants. I appreciate your hard work. Thank you for your amazing job. We are getting so many apartment views these days. Your help has been amazing, and we are so grateful. We will recommend you to everyone we know looking for a new home in Berlin. I wanted to share that I got my apartment today and would like to cancel my subscription. Thank you so much for all the support. Thanks to your help, I have found a new apartment. When I move next time, I'll book you again. So if you are fed up with apartment hunting like I was, or you're planning to move soon and want to reduce the stress, then make sure to check out the link to get the flat in my description, and be sure to hurry up as they do have limited spots available for the next couple of months. I know it's not easy, but I am sure that you will find your dream home in no time. And rest assured that with Get the Flat, it is all about regular, long-term and unfurnished apartments. So no more jumping from one sublet or a temporary stay to the next. Instead, you'll have a place to truly call home. But here's a bright side. Food in Berlin is pretty affordable. Check out my sexy looking dish over here. So whether you're dining out or you're grocery shopping, things are pretty affordable compared to places like London, for example, where you're bound to pay at least double. So I myself am plant-based. Whenever I'm cooking at home, things are pretty cheap, and going out as well is quite easy here if you're vegan, because Berlin is the capital of veganism. Pretty much every single place has at least one vegan option. Even this currywurst place offering full vegan menus and even participating in Veganuary. What? Whew, let's talk about the weather, shall we? I mean, don't get me wrong, summer in Berlin, absolutely epic. I'm talking gorgeous lakes, amazing festivals, and just a city that's energy turns alive. But I've got to be real with you. When it comes to winter, as you can see, it's windy, it's cold, it's gray, and it gets very dark, and it's for the majority of the year. So it's not the best, but if you're a fellow Berliner, I'm sure you'll agree with me that the summers do make it worth it. For such a metropolitan city, Berlin has a lot of parks, a lot of nature, and all around just a lot of greenery, which is amazing, but it's very unusual for a city like this. My boyfriend and I love going to Grunewald, which is basically a massive forest, and it's not even far from the actual city center. I think it's around a 30-minute drive from Mitte, but if you live in Charlottenburg, for example, that's only like a 10-minute drive away from a beautiful forest. Isn't that insane? You can go there to walk your dog, or just hang out with your family, or even do a workout. They have these really cool workout stations, and my boyfriend and I went during the summer, and it's like a 1-hour process, but it's so much fun. You can go on your own even. It's just a liberating place to go and get away from the busy city of Berlin. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but it just started snowing, which is amazing. I hadn't seen snow in Berlin until now. It's currently January. Speaking of parks, if you have kids, you'll be glad to know that this right there is Hogwarts. That is a Harry Potter park that is made for kids in Schöneberg, and it is actually amazing. A major bonus about Berlin is that if you've got the travel bug, well, then you'll be happy to know that it is super easy to get around Europe when you're based in Berlin. For example, we are currently on our way to Poland. We're going there for New Year's Eve. It's around a 5-hour drive from Berlin, which is really not that bad, and things can be pretty affordable if you plan it accordingly and plan it on time. So although having a car in Berlin isn't necessary, it's definitely convenient depending on your needs and your lifestyle. Otherwise, there's plenty of planes, trains, and buses. Speaking of transportation, Berlin's public transport is pretty good, and considering you can get the Deutschland ticket for only 58 euro per month, which is less than 190 per day. And I'd say that's a pretty good deal, as you can travel the entire Germany with that. Just beware, because there's always, room for improvement. There's a lot of delays, waiting times, and sometimes it really feels like the trains are on Berlin time. But hey, it's still pretty reliable. Let's talk about Sundays. So if you didn't know, in Germany, not just Berlin, Sundays, everything is basically closed. I'm talking supermarkets and any other shops like clothing stores, malls, things like that. Cafes, restaurants, most of them are still open. And of course you have the odd shops like little Spätis in certain areas, or of course some like gas station supermarkets, those mini ones. I'm currently standing in front of a closed Aldi in a very sad looking parking lot. Whether you like this or not, well, no one cares, because that's just the rules in Germany. People want to have their peace and quiet on a Sunday, and it's actually nice because it means that every single person almost has a day off. Now let's talk about health insurance. Germany has a great public health system, so it's essentially free, but here's the catch. It's not always that easy. See, getting appointments can take absolute ages, especially if you're looking for a specific specialist. So don't expect instant access to healthcare. Of course, though, in return, the taxes can be relatively high here, with up to 42% depending on how much you're earning. And it can all get quite complicated, especially if you're both employed and self-employed like myself. Managing your own taxes can be quite frustrating and slow. Most things, such as important letters, for example, still come by mail in Germany, which means long waiting times, and that can be pretty annoying, especially when you need an urgent document. So let's finish on a positive note. Mate and Pfand. If you haven't been acquainted yet, then please meet mate, a popular caffeinated soft drink made from yerba mate, a type of tea traditionally consumed in South America, and Germans are absolutely obsessed with this drink. So if you don't drink alcohol, be ready to be offered this drink at every single party that you go to. Now, if you have not heard that Germany is pretty big on recycling, well, it is, and Berlin is exactly the same. Well, in most parts. Pfand is basically a deposit that you pay whenever you buy a bottle or a can, and it's anywhere from 8 to 50 cents, depending on the type of material the beverage is in. Once you return the empty bottle or can to a store or a designated return machine called a Pfandautomat, you get your deposit back in cash or as a receipt for store credit, which I have to say is such a cool system, and every country should have it. It keeps the streets cleaner, offers a way for homeless individuals to potentially earn some money, and it promotes a great habit that encourages sustainable awareness. P.S. The iced tea flavor is so damn good, I prefer it to the original. Just saying. Just saying. So there you have it. Berlin is indeed an exciting, vibrant, and definitely sometimes frustrating place to live, but with its open-minded vibe, affordable food, beautiful nature, and access to Europe, it's definitely a place worth living in. Just make sure you're ready for around 8 months of shitty weather. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tips on life in Berlin and beyond. See you in the next one.